Action, activate! Oh my gosh.
Here we come! There they go! People rise! 'Cause they know we're super soldiers! We got cool clothes! You real smooth! When you see our pose! Tension! Energize! Mask on! Time to ride! Combine! Grease ties!
Hey, I'm Gazbot, and I'll be your host today for Ice Cream Flavors We Love. Now, let me tell you, Netflix and Chilled is really climbing the charts. Wait a minute. Sorry, that's the wrong day. This is Action Activate, and if this is Action Activate, then that means with me, as always, is...
Big Dawg Defender rocking a Ranger shirt for once because I remembered.
Me too. See, I don't have to remember because, like, there's a 33% chance I'll be wearing a Ranger shirt most days.
Mine's like a 12-ish, I'm going to say.
We'll have to collate the numbers and get back to you, everybody. So we are here talking about Dino Fury Episode 2, but we're sort of talking about Dino Fury for the first time because we each did a review on Episode 1 separately, which we normally don't do.
We did.
We have not talked at all about Dino Fury.
Zero.
Yeah, I mean, I watched your video, and I assume you watched
mine. And I watched
mine.
yours.
Yeah, so we
and I commented on yours.
Let's just say, yeah. We learned each other's opinions the same way that you guys did, just by watching the videos. But do you want to? We're going to go into episode 2, but do you want to just give like a one-line review of what you thought of episode 1 going into the whole thing?
Episode 1, I preferred to 2 because the seeds that were planted, both literally Sporix and figuratively, I feel like were a little bit different, but familiar and comforting that we're going back to some similar kind of tropes.
I mean, that was more than, I mean, that was a line, but it was,
that was a long sentence with a lot of commas.
I also was like, sum up your thoughts on episode 1, and you basically said, I liked episode 1 better than episode 2 because of things they were setting up. Am I understanding you correctly?
I liked episode 1 a good amount and significantly more than you did.
Okay, I thought you said you preferred it to episode 2. Did you not just say that?
I did also say that, but okay. I don't want that to be what is clearly remembered and not.
Well, that's what you said. I'm like, what did you think episode 1? And you're like, better than 2.
Hey, Gazbot, what's your one sentence thing for episode 1?
My one sentence thing for episode 1 is not bad, but somewhat disappointing. That's how I would put it. And as pointed out by you and some other people, it might be that I just had such high expectations because it's not bad. But I was like, Beast Morphers was such a step up. I was expecting, even if it wasn't a light speed step, just like another little step up. And as of now, I don't feel it's a step up from Beast Morphers. Arguably, it's a step back. Arguably, it's not. But as of now, I don't feel, well, as of episode 1, I don't feel that. So
it wasn't rescued at light speed, but what are you going to do there? So, no, I think, though, you definitely had higher expectations than I did. Mine, I feel like were very medium, and it's funny because I didn't have, I think, as much bias with SPD because I had seen most of it.
Right.
And you're like, oh my gosh, this season's great. I'm like, I do recall it being great, and here's some things that I didn't watch. And now you're like, and now there's a new season. I'm like, mine I think was compared more Beast Morphers to Dino Fury, and yours, you thought it was more Beast Morphers, but really you're like, but also SPD though.
Yeah, it was Beast Morphers, also SPD, because again, for those that don't know, we just got done watching SPD. It was my first time ever watching, and it blew my mind. I can see why everyone says it's a great season. Those two things, in addition to the fact that Hasbro now has full control, not joint control with Saban, the fact that it may or may not be the last season, the fact that they're doing Ryu Soldier, which I thought had cool helmets and stuff. So like there was a lot going into it where I'm like, this is going to be great. And it still might be, but it started off like, but actually one thing I'll mention from my review, I had said something about Void Knight being cool because we don't often see an evil ranger, let alone an evil ranger, show up right in the beginning. And then I realized afterwards, Beast Morphers, Blaze and Roxy showed up right in the beginning. They're essentially evil rangers.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
I mean, it's not, you could break it down where technically they're not rangers, but they were Rangers that got copied and turned into evil super. I mean, you know what I mean? It's pretty close. It's at least worth mentioning, even if it's not literally that. But we're here to talk about episode 2, and that is Sporix Unleashed. I will start.
Yeah.
The beginning of this episode made me already like it better than the last episode.
Wow.
When they were doing morphing practice and they're getting it wrong and bumping into each other, I literally was sitting here by myself. I was like, yes.
I too did that.
Yes. Yes. And there's a few things throughout this episode that I did that. But it started off to me very strong because I was like, where are we going? And it immediately showed that they were going to continue the kind of humor of Pink and Blue bouncing off each other a little bit, and Red being this mentor, and he actually is kind of being a mentor. And it fleshed him a lot. Like that one scene, I liked the team way more just from that one scene, and I liked the tone of the show. I hate to invoke this, but it gave me shades of RPM. You know what I mean? With the way it's like, oh, we're going to kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Some of this stuff is silly and there's reasons for the way we do things. And, we're going to acknowledge that. And yeah. So also on top of the comedy and all that stuff, I'd complained that they did their first morph and it was kind of anticlimactic. We finally got to see a real morph, and I think it's a cool morph sequence. It's a little bit more involved than some of the others, which I like. It's a little bit more like the Japanese counterparts. I don't know. I haven't seen Real Soldier, so I don't know if it's the same, but it has that flavor.
I agree with that. I too really liked the beginning scene. They have a long morph sequence, man. Like they went through the full thing, I'm like, this is like anime level where it's like,
it's Sentai or Kamen Rider level.
No, I've seen quicker Kamen Rider henshins than that.
What I'm saying is this level of complexity or duration is not as uncommon in Japanese shows as it is in Power Rangers.
Fair.
Plus, don't forget they have the instamorphs they do, which they do in this episode. So
I think the way that you felt when they did the morph is how I felt when they teleported. I was like, thank you. We don't have to waste time driving around anymore. Thank you so much. Just bloop. Yes. Thank you. Oh my God.
I did not have that reaction because in Beast Morphers, I thought it was cool that they were driving around because it was different. You know what I mean? And I know not everybody has a teleporter, but I will give you this. I wasn't psyched because they have teleporters. I was psyched because I really like the effect on the teleporter.
That was also cool.
It's like the swooshy rainbow, very different. It's not a standard teleport you see everywhere all the time. And not for nothing, but Power Rangers isn't known for having the most innovative special effects. Usually it's like, oh, these are the kind of standard lasers or whatever. I don't remember seeing this kind of teleport before. And so while I didn't care about they have teleporters, I like the way the teleporters look.
So you and I definitely won't remember this.
Okay.
But those of you watching, if you remember and or looked it up, tell us in the comments below the last season that they could teleport. Because I honestly don't remember.
Since
like Billy.
Wow, you know what? Because I don't think any Neo Saban had it, right?
You would know if Samurai did, and I don't think they did.
No, they didn't.
A Dino Charge I don't think could.
No. And then RPM didn't.
RPM for sure didn't. SPD for sure didn't.
Wow. Yeah, it's been a long time. Okay. Nice. The other thing I like at the end of that scene, they were looking at all the statues, and we saw the flashback, so we know there were 6 Rangers.
Yes, that was another thing. I was like,
how come there's not anything? Their keys were lost. Now, we know that's a fake out because obviously they're going to get more Rangers. But to a kid that doesn't know that, it's like, oh, okay, I guess it's just these 3. And I like that they acknowledge it. Again, lines of dialogue. Doesn't cost any money. Can make everything so much better.
And that was the thing, because Hasbro has us bugged, and now it's reconfirmed that last season, I remember I just kept complaining. I'm like, just say 1 or 2 things about this thing and it won't be an issue. Yep. Like last episode when they're like, oh, how'd you learn how to fight? I took martial arts for 3 years. Oh, I did that in fencing. I'm like, yes, that's all you needed this whole time. Thank
you. So then they go downstairs to the base, which now is like officially their base, and they've resealed and everything. And they're talking about getting the Zord, which is the T-Rex Champ Zord or Champion Zord, which is kind of a weird name, to be honest. But
and RPM vibes when she's like, "Who named these?" And so, anyways,
I like that. I like that she was excited, and then asked, and everyone, again, yes, RPM vibes, good humor, good jokes, good comedy. I liked it. It worked.
Thus far, I'm digging it.
Yeah. Then there's the thing where Ollie has the scanner that Void Knight had left. And he's like, hey, maybe I can hook it up to this, the drone my mom has, which actually sounds like a really good idea.
It does.
And they're like, whoa, mixing alien tech and then human tech. That's crazy. That's what they do in almost every season of Power Rangers.
Yeah, I know.
That's such a normal thing. Now, granted, these are a new team. They might not know that. And here's what I like, though. spoilers, obviously, it did turn out being a bad idea, but not at all for the reasons they made it seem like. You plug this, you hang this from the bottom of a drone, it's going to be terrible. No, it was that Void Knight was going to home in on it, and that was the problem. But
the thing that I'll give them credit for is the two people that poo-pooed it are 65 million years old.
Yes.
So it's like, this is a bad idea. Well, you also don't know what a building is, so fair.
Well, they are in a building, to be fair.
They're in a cave, but sure.
I mean, they're aliens. Don't forget, they're not from Earth. So presumably they were building. Well, actually, the dinosaur is. But point is, they know what buildings are.
Yeah.
Let's not slander them too much, sir. Let's not slander them too much.
So no. I'm giving them a full out of like, I will let you plead ignorance on this because you literally don't know what a movie is. Because remember, they mentioned that before, and Zaito was like, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Where are the dinosaurs? And they're like, they're in the movies, and he just
thinks that they're in a place. Yeah, that's true.
Sure, I guess movie is a place.
I have a continuity question or a time question. Right after this, they're like, oh, we got to go warn everybody about the Sporix. Let's just go, which is a good impulse. Usually it's like, we better deal with this in secret. When they get to like the park base, whatever you want to call it, the warden from the previous episode and the mom are coming out, and it seems like they're just finishing up the conversation about like what's allowed and what are the permits, which they left to do last episode. But that means they've been having that conversation for like a day
and a half,
and like there was a giant monster attack and everything, and Sporix were flying around, and the T-Rex Zord comes out, and that comes out later.
That's after.
No, you're right. That is after that. Okay, fair enough. That's it. But it still was a very long time. And I'm like, was this a follow-up one or whatever? But the timing just seemed weird there to me.
My assumption was they just met and became Power Rangers, and he's like, we got to train. And literally the end of that last episode is like, so we're training now. And like right away. So it could be a couple hours.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Fair. But it also makes me think maybe the warden, fine. Maybe a reluctant Ninja Steel. Maybe the warden, has a thing for the mom, and maybe it was like, because she was like, he told me every single statute. Maybe he's like, here's another one, Miss so and so, and kind of stretching it out.
Very Skull and Kimberly.
I guess, but more possible that it might happen.
Well, no, isn't there a thing where Spike's mom like might be Kimberly, and there's like this weird
it's a fan theory, but there's no. I mean, we know that Kat ended up with Tommy, not Kimberly, but it's I'm not against it. I like that fan theory, but my understanding is it's a complete fan theory. Ollie was like, guys, I got to talk to my mom about something. And then he's like, hey, yo, hook this up to the thing. I appreciate his impulse. I still think it's a good idea. But it's like, really, you're going to start having secrets right off the bat? That was a little silly. The
thing that I've learned with Ollie, and I like him less in this episode, is like he's doubling down on being the guy who's like, it'll be fine. Hold my drink and watch this. And it's like, you are the fail blog of like people right now.
I'm allowing it only because it is Power Rangers. They have to have moral lessons, and probably every character is going to do a dumb thing, and this is his dumb thing. If it ends up being a constant thing, it's going to bother me. But right now, okay, this was the episode where we learned not to keep secrets and trust people in our team and burr. Yeah. So they go to Buzz Blast, which is what's Pink's name? I keep forgetting. Pink.
I remember her actress's name, which is why I can't remember her character name. Hunter Deno.
Hunter Deno, yes, it's a very awesome real name. So they go to Buzz Blast, and I mentioned this in my review, but I got of episode 1, but I got to say it again. I used to work at a place called Cartoon Pizza. It was in New York. I worked at an animation company on a show called Pinky Dinky Doo and a couple other shows, and it shared a building with Sesame Street. It was Sesame Workshop. It looked very similar to this, not necessarily the layout, because it's laid out like a newsroom, but like the checkerboard floor with the different colors and a lot of orange, and just sort of like, it was sort of like an office that was kid friendly. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And every time I see that, that's why it's like, this is so believable to me, because I worked in a place that looks like this. Most people probably don't have that, because it's kind of a weird work environment.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm like, no, I worked in a building like that. I definitely believe this exists.
Yeah. It was cool. And then the next part was quite the connective, gridding, if you will.
Are we talking about the Hartford robotics box?
Yes, we are. If you play that clip, I will be upset with you, and I know you're going to do it anyway.
What, the clip of Hartford robotics?
I hate you. I hate you so much.
No, I don't know what you mean. Is Hartford a callback to something, or? Here, I have this clip. This is where they pull it out. there's this robot inside, but let me back up a minute so the audience can see what we're talking about here. Hartford Robotics.
Yes.
Is there some significance here I'm missing?
Are you being serious or are you being sarcastic?
Both.
Okay. Hartford Robotics is from Operation Overdrive because
Operation Overdrive is my favorite season.
Oh, right. Good. I forgot, but it makes sense that you would remember. So thank you for filling us in on that. I appreciate it. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, they have this box from Hartford Robotics, which according to the big dog connects to Operation Overdrive. And then what happens next? Actually, I'll go ahead and put it on screen again.
This montage was very Ben and Betty, and I didn't love it, but I didn't despise it with every fiber of my being.
I disliked it a lot for two reasons. The silly, slapsticky, over the top nature of it. Okay, we have this robot, but it's that thing where the robot also has super speed that's done by just speeding up the film, which is not. It always looks like comedy. And the other thing that bothers me more, I'm going to stop because I don't want to get a copyright strike here. Yep. The other thing that bothers me more is she's got a robot that looks and acts like a human, better than a human even. Once again, are we in some kind of super science world? Why? And no one's like, whoa, this is amazing. This is like, oh, okay, you got a robot. You know, it's kind of impressive. But it drives me insane. Like what? You need an explanation. You need an explanation, even if they say okay, we're in the same general area as Beast Morphers was, and Nate Silva developed this, whatever, like something.
Yeah, Andrew Hartford developed that.
What does that mean?
Andrew Hartford, the mentor of Operation Overdrive, developed a robot.
Okay, that doesn't explain anything though.
Because you haven't watched Operation Overdrive.
I've watched some of it.
Yeah, you haven't watched all of it.
I'm sorry to upset you.
Operation Overdrive is my favorite season.
I know.
You're the one who's going to be upset because I'm doing my darndest with you poking the bear here that I am trying so hard not to give you any plot points.
I wasn't even really trying to poke you just now. I literally don't understand why. If Operation Overdrive is in the same universe, which obviously it should be, clearly, unless this is not, then that happened, what, 10 years ago, 15 years ago?
20-ish?
Fine. Between 10 and 20.
No, not 20. Sorry. 15, I think you're right. 10 or 15.
15 years. Let's say 15-ish. Then if at that time Hartford was able to create robots that looked and acted more or less like a human, then they should be everywhere in all the seasons since, and it shouldn't be a big deal. And they're treating it as though it's not a big deal, but it kind of is. And even if they have these robots and there's a limited amount of them that the government uses or science, like they exist in the world somehow, this is the equivalent of like a YouTube channel getting a robot just because she didn't feel like signing some papers, so much about this I dislike. Almost everything about this I dislike.
Yep. I mean, it's kind of like last season where we're like, why does Steel have to hide? And now everybody's cool with Steel being around. And they're like, by the way, we got a robot. And everybody's like, whatever.
Yeah. I read an interview with the producer, the showrunner, producer, what's his name? Simon, I forget his name, the new guy. And one of the things he said was that Saban had a lot of specific restrictions and things you had to do and don't do. And now they're getting away from that because they're still obviously under a certain amount of template. And one of the things he was asked about was like the comedic duo, which Saban was heavy on to always want a comedic duo. And that had to be in there. And he's like, and we still want comedy, but we're going to spread it out and let different characters have it. And I liked that. And that made me think of Ollie and the Pink Ranger, Blue Ranger and the Pink Ranger, and the jokes they had back and forth and a couple jokes here and there. And that I like better. It's more like the real world. Everybody has a friend that's kind of funny, but generally everybody once in a while tells a joke. And so that felt good. But the introduction of this character, I don't know if they're just gonna be here for this one scene or if they're gonna be an ongoing thing, feels like this is a comedic character. Or if they're not, and it's just a one-off joke, it's a weird one-off joke.
I don't think it's a one-off, but I think it's going to be in between both things.
But it also seems to go against the idea of it seems like they are having a dedicated comedic character as opposed to just spreading it around. I don't know, but everything in this episode up to this point, I was like, wow, they're doing everything right. I like episode 2 so much better than episode 1. What is happening? This is getting worse. She has super speed. I hate this.
Yeah, I'm hoping that similar to Void Knight getting the henchman, that something happens where he's like, oh, you guys have robots? Oh, that's cool. I'm going to have a robot now too. And like do something there.
Also, why is her hair a different color?
I thought it was a kind of a nod to Blade Runner.
I guess because in Blade Runner they had, in Blade Runner there were sort of like punk rockers that happened to be synthetic people. I don't know.
How do you homage Blade Runner without it being overtly Blade Runner?
I wouldn't
give them bangs and make their hair a very bright, recognizable color.
I guess I wouldn't think Power Rangers Dino Fury is the place to do an homage to Blade Runner.
You also didn't think that they'd have, a lot of the stuff they have.
True. Man, this is I'm not even done with page 1. We gotta step it up a little. Part of the problem too is we haven't had a duo video at all in a while. We've been doing a lot of solo stuff. Zato's voice, I like the guy's voice. It's a weird thing to say, but in Suit he was talking a lot and it kind of had a cool voice. It reminded me a bit of, and we talked about before. I've talked Andros and that kind of stuff.
Same.
But an out of Power Ranger thing it reminded me of. You ever watch Stargate?
A bit.
There's a character called Teal'c. He was the alien.
Yeah, he does sound like Teal'c.
He has a bit of, but I like that. I think it's kind of cool. It's sort of like a calm. It's sort of like if a Klingon had chill, Yeah.
No, I think it's cool. I think sometimes, and it's kind of just growing pains probably, like sometimes he's too deadpan, but other times he's stoic, which I like.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think this is the first couple episodes. They probably filmed scenes out of order. You don't know what this. Yeah, but overall I like him more this episode, which makes sense because we see more of him.
I like just how his demeanor is just action driven and like problem solving. He's like, hey, we need to address the Sporix now because we're Power Rangers. In order for you to be a good Power Ranger, you need to know how to morph. By the way, here's what a power-up is. You'll get one when you're ready. Like, all that stuff. It's like, dude.
Makes sense. What? Yeah. Again, a military leader that knows what's going on, Absolutely. The Void Knight and Sporix are looking to get into the base that they have, like, since Rethink. And I forget what the little horsey. He's not a little horsey. He gets mad when people call him that. He's like, oh, they have a doggy door. I'll squeeze in. Here's the problem with that. I don't have a problem with the joke. Whatever. It's a goofy joke for the villain.
Why is he making that joke?
How does he know what a doggy door is? He was a blob. Now he's a monster. And he understands doggy doors to the level that he can make a joke about it?
Yeah, because once you grow out of your little Sporix, you get injected with information a la The Matrix, and you just go, I know modern comedy.
Yeah. It's a little nitpick. Doesn't bother me nearly as much as the robot, but it just sort of struck me as odd because
that actually bothered me more than the robot. But
really,
yes.
See, I could forgive a throwaway joke that is kind of an anachronism.
You have to finish Overdrive to appreciate it.
All right.
You were about to do it a third time, and you were about to see a flip right there. Next, are we talking about the power-ups? You have notes and I don't. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, no. I had the teleport. Looks cool. Okay, so next they're fighting the Mucus. They get called away and they start fighting.
Oh, yeah.
Mucus, I said this when the first Sporix hatched, and I felt it even more when Mucus hatched. They made such a big deal of how powerful these are, and they're wrecking a planet. Like, our introduction to them is seeing them just, like, rampaging a planet.
Destroy the world.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, what's going on? And they kill her in one hit. She doesn't stay dead, but it's like, okay, it's kind of a comedic sidekick character that's probably going to be around. And as a comedic sidekick character, I actually kind of dig her. I like it. It's kind of a fun personality. But as like the first or second villain, it undermines how serious these things are supposed to be, to me anyway.
So slightly jumping ahead, since pretty much we're officially in spoiler territory for the episode.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The way that I perceive Sporix is when they were captured and they were dormant, they lost a lot of their power. They're still powerful, but they're not the same level when they were wrecking the world. Except after you take one down and then you're like, hey, it's coming back and then some. Like the way I thought about it was anybody who plays like certain team board games like Zombicide or something like that, as the waves progress and as you get better, the villains and bad guys also get stronger too. Same with this, where it's like, we can take these guys down, but at a certain point, we need to get better or they don't need to come back anymore.
Right. That's fair. And the second part is obviously canon. The first part where they lose their power over time is headcanon, but I'll buy it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I put up the morphin sequence for a second. It's like you said, it's a bit long and intricate, but I loved it. Also, while I wasn't really a huge fan of the theme song, the music while they're morphing had a very Daft Punk feel, which I really dug.
Rip
and it's
Daft
kind of
Punk who just broke up.
Right. Yes. But it also made me think like, this is kind of what I said about the intro. It kind of didn't go far enough if they're going to do that. But that musical sting and the morph, like I really liked that. It was different and it was like driving, and I thought that was really cool. And then they had the color blast explosion thing behind them. I dug the whole thing. And then when they start to have the fight, blue and pink making little jokes at each other. I love it. I want that to continue. I want them to always be jabbing at each other. That's the kind of comedy I want to see.
Yep. I liked that. Obviously the fighting seemed to be Sentai footage from my understanding, but it's harder to differentiate now because they're so close in shooting time.
Yes, and I've also heard that more and more they're using less and less Sentai footage at all, like even during the fights. I'm looking at it in the background now. I didn't see any signs or anything obvious that would give it away.
My thing I thought of is when he did the power up, it seems so Sentai goofy that they rolled with it a la RPM.
The stink thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was another joke I liked because he said stink power up, and I thought I misheard it, and I'm like,
yeah, I know, me too. That was great.
And then she's like, did he say stink? And I laughed out loud. I'm like, yeah, I heard. That's funny. And then it really was, and I'm like, what?
And that's the thing about Zato that he does so well is he's like, yeah, I have stink armor.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, why?
Yeah, but the stink armor.
Why do you not have stink armor?
It does look cool when they get the big armor thing. And it's I like that it's not the same as like what Dino Charge had, where it was sort of just spiked armor. It looks more knightly. Again, they're not called knights, but we all know they're knights, and so it does look like a big old pauldron or something. What did you think of the slow motion they were using in the fight?
That was all right.
I noticed it. I didn't hate it or love it, but I'm like, do they usually use this much slow motion? I don't think
so. I think it was honestly a way, once again, lending credence to Sentai footage, that they slowed it down so they didn't need to use more footage of something else.
Possibly.
Like adding 30 seconds of slow-mo, they're like, cool, that was a scene we didn't have to film.
That's true, and that's possible. But again, I didn't hate it, but I just noticed it. Yeah. Shortly after this, they see the mom is in trouble. We realize that Ollie did make a mistake, but not the way we thought. And again, I like that there were ramifications, but they weren't these weird, we plugged it in and it blew up, stupid, And they do the fast morph. And they're running, and they say, link to morphing grid. So that's like their...
Dude, the fact that was the thing. Yeah. They say it's morphin time in the beginning, but link to morphing grid's like their specific thing. Yeah. And I love how in your face they're being of like, the morphing grid is the thing that we use to morph. There's not some random thing that you're forgetting about what happened last year. And here's the iPhone 13 that's similar but different. No, it's all connected to the grid.
Yes, I agree. And I had said that in the first morph, there was like the cloud, and I said it looked like constellations. I'm an idiot because obviously it's the morphing grid. And when they do the full sequence, you see them like, I'm in the morphing grid. Like, so yeah, continuity, winks, nods, whatever you want to call it. It's great. And I like the link to morphing grid. I think that's a cool call. Like, it's different,
because they're like some of the OG Rangers where it's like, hey, we're the Morphin Masters and we're giving you and dinosaurs powers.
They understand it more than the people that came along later that just found it somehow.
Yeah, like any other technology. Like if you have an old car from the 50s, there are certain things it does terribly, but it's a tank. It'll just chew through technology now. Right. But now you could have a Ferrari that goes crazy fast. Just little... give and takes.
And similarly, like when you go back in technology, you could have a thing where one or two people understand how to build the whole thing and could fix it from top to bottom. Most cars nowadays, nobody could do that because you need a computer system and you need one person for this, one for like, it's more and more like I've heard it once said that nobody knows how to build a mouse because nobody builds a mouse. One person builds the bottom, one person builds the top. So like it's built, but no one person could build this for you. You know what I mean? Gotcha. It's an oversimplification, but I see this the same way where they just like, okay, we're tapping into the morphing grid. Years go by and it's like, okay, I found this way to go through a crystal that taps into that. And if we do that and we funnel it back through, then we have this fire sword. Like, so this is
like, I was given this by the Morphin Masters and I just kind of go in.
Yeah. There you go.
I put my key in and I hit start.
Exactly. So they have the fight to try to save the mom. The mom is shown to be competent. He's like, my mom can handle herself, and she grabs the lasso.
That was the thing. Before that, I was like, is this mom just gonna annoyingly be a damsel in distress? And she wasn't. And I was like, thank you.
Yes. You know what? I want to revise my original summation of this episode. I want to sum it up now with mixed feelings, because that's what I felt the whole time.
The more we talk about it, the more I'm like realizing that I liked a lot of aspects of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's still good. Like, so far, I like the season. It's good.
I feel like episode 1, I was like, this is fine. This is okay. It's a little disappointing, but it's fine. This one,
fire in the background. It's fine.
No, woohoo! Yeah, yeah. Like I literally said yes and no out loud.
Yeah.
Like 10 times during this episode. And so the mom fights back, gets the lasso. I'm like, yeah. And then it goes whoop around. I'm like, okay. And then it was like ping, 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 ping. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, I know.
So it's weird. Like,
it's like you're so close.
Yeah.
You're watching somebody do stand-up, and it's like, that joke was amazing. I'm going to talk about that forever. I really hope I can forget these last 5 minutes so quickly.
Yes. Drone. Okay, so the drone scanner explodes. Oh, and then Ollie has to pretend he's not Ollie to his mom, and he does it's like, I recognize your voice. He's like,
I hate that thing. That's such a... That's one of the old tropes that I'm like, I hate it. Everything else I'm liking what you're doing, but the old, you can't let anybody know your secret identity or you put them in danger, but they might be in danger because you're trying to put a freaking little megaphone that looks for fungus on a drone.
Okay, I thought we were going to have a big argument here, but we're not. I agree with you. It is dumb. They have to keep it a secret, especially because they don't have a Zordon, a Morphin Master, somebody. They have a guy who's just like, yeah, I'm a Power Ranger. I'm here to save the planet. Let's tell everybody about it. So who's telling them to keep? He did, but why? I agree with you. That being said, it's a trope they've had forever. I'm going to let that go. And I loved the joke of him trying to mask his voice badly.
Yeah.
That's also a joke I've seen before, but I don't care. It works every time.
And Miles Morales and Into the Spider-Verse. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I love you.
I don't care. It's always funny. It's always, unless it's done terribly, which it wasn't. So I agree that they shouldn't have to do it, but if they're going to have to do it, they had some fun with it. So I like that. Shockhorn then grow. That was the name of the little horsey guy. Shockhorn grows by himself.
Oh, but before that, this is the part that I like. Zato goes, hey, can you get my Zord ready? I'm pretty sure he's going to grow.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean? And then, and he's like, once again, Zato being great. He's like, I'm not going to throw it in your face, but I've been a Ranger before, and I know how this goes.
Yeah.
I love the cockpit. Cockpit's so cool.
Wow, you're wrong. It's terrible. I hate it.
Really?
It looks just like Dino Charge.
It does.
Looks just like so many other, where it's just a bare room with some lightning bolts.
Give me a real
cockpit. Give me a cockpit where they're sitting there by themselves. There's stuff around them. It's always just guys standing there doing karate in a room.
Here's the thing about this kind of cockpit that I don't hate and you clearly do.
Yeah.
I ignore all the empty space in the background, and I like the platform that you put your sword or your gun in, and then you just get to going.
That's cool, but we've seen other ones where they put a sword or a morpher or something, and then Beast Morpher's cockpit's a million times better than this cockpit, in my opinion.
Because you prefer a traditional cockpit versus the telekinetic, weird, Pacific Rim kind of cockpit.
But yes, but it doesn't have to be traditional. I love the cockpits in Pacific Rim. They got these weird walkie things. They're connected in the drift. It's nothing like a normal cockpit, but it's awesome and inventive. This is, let's get a suit actor, put him in a room, and have him do some kicks and pretend that controls the vehicles and mechs somehow. And I was okay with it the first time or two I saw it, but it's like I've seen it so many times now. It's not.
Yeah, it's such a post Neo Saban thing that I've kind of accepted it for better or worse.
Well, here's the thing: saying "well, I accept it" is whatever, but the fact that you're like, "I love it" is like,
no. What I love. Here's the thing that I love about it. I love when they have their main weapon and they dock it and then go to use the Zord.
I'm with you on that.
The cockpit that I thought of just when we were breaking down cockpits that I absolutely despised, and I didn't see it as recently as you, was the Dino Thunder cockpits. Those were smoking hot garbage where it was a big old egg, and they're just like, come on, guys, let's move the Zord.
I did not like those very much, but I give them points for being different.
They're different, but I hate them.
Moving on. I like Zolan's voice. I still think her mouth should move, or they should say she's telekinetic. But having heard more of the voice actor, I really like
Zolan's great.
Yeah, no, I like Zolan in general, but I'm specifically commenting on the voice. It's sort of like it's because she's not stupid, but she's not like bossy. She sounds like an older soldier that's just like, okay, let's get the job done. You guys need a little help, and
You know who she reminds me of? She reminds me of a less comedic Alpha 5 from the 2017 movie.
Ish. I mean, there's no comedy at all. She reminds me of.
He was clearly comedic. That's why this is not. Who were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say she reminds me of someone that I can't think of right now, so I'll just let it go. But I like the character, and I already like the character, but the voice, I just focused more on the voice time because there wasn't like a big battle going on. They were just talking.
Yeah.
I like that when they use their power ups. I think it's Grabby Dino and like Grabby Dino Charge.
Weird, childish names.
Yeah, but which is weird, but at least it's consistent. Fine. Yeah. And I like that. And I like that the pink and blue tried to fight the large monster. They failed. Yeah, it was really cool that she at least encumbered him for a second. And then the T-Rex came out. And let me tell you, that T-Rex Champion Zord entrance, amazing.
Yeah.
Running, jumping over overpasses, comes in. That is some of the best Megazord action in terms of just raw fighting I've ever seen.
So here's where I'm conflicted.
Yeah.
And this is just strictly from an action activate perspective. I wish that we had it on clippable, but we don't. When you and I talked about when the Beast X King Zord had the red Zord on it and he wrote it in and we were like, this is great. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I wish we had a figure of this. And then Hasbro didn't give us a figure because they hate us. And then this is like, this is great. And I know there's a figure and you already have the Japanese figure and everybody's happy. Yes.
Yeah. I can't believe I just reviewed it. And I'm like, this is a great figure. And then I watch it. And I'm like, I'm so happy I have this figure.
And the cool thing, and this was me being happy for you because I don't have a version of this figure yet, is in the fight, and you showed it a little bit. Yep. It's like, how are they going to do this weird kind of Lego Zord builder thing and make it seem organic? Yeah. Tyrannosaurus head punch. Boom! Tail whip. Boom! I was like,
all of it. Yeah, it was so. Here's the thing: there definitely was CGI mixed in there, but it was pretty seamless, especially for Power Rangers. Usually, there's a real hard cut because I'm thinking of SPD, which I also liked a lot, but you could tell it would switch to CGI and back, and that was one of the better ones. It was really good, and one of the things I noticed why maybe it could move so well, and it's going to lose some of that as it gets more encumbered. But you could kind of see there's a base of a red and black spandex suit with some armor on top. Usually it's like a 360 around every part of the body. So this was more like an armored hero almost, as opposed to a Megazord. But yeah, it was so much fun watching that fight. As the dinosaur came in and stomped down, and that roar the dinosaur had was really cool. And then it transformed. Everything about it was great. And the other thing is, in my toy review, I talked about there's the key that becomes the head. And I'm like, oh, there's this hole in the dinosaur. I kind of put the key, but it looks like the guy, the henge guard in there, like he's a pilot, which I know it isn't. It's just a key. That happened. My play pattern predicted what would actually happen. Like he gets in there and he rides it for a minute. I'm like, oh, it's real. I did it exactly right. I had no idea. So, and it also, after the fact, I'm like, well, is it sentient? I mean, it was just a key. And then I realized, being a Transformers fan, I know exactly what it is. It's a headmaster. A headmaster. Yeah. And then I was like, I love this even more. Like everything, it was so good. And I just was so happy I already bought that toy because after seeing that, I would want to buy it.
So here's the thing that none of us acknowledged or even realized until right now. To you boy, Big Dog, give me the close-up because you're going to be so happy with this.
Here you go.
We have a new
Operation Overdrive is my favorite season.
You're an awful person. So... So, we're getting zoomed in. We haven't done this in a while. It's a new season, everyone. So, last season, we talked about how we loved most of the Zord sequences and we hated others. But there's one consistent thing that we didn't like and had to see every time. We had to see some dumb blaster to sell a Nerf gun to, kind of go into the show when it doesn't mean anything. What did we get this time? Nothing but that, baby. Everything is relevant. There's no dumb things that you can't explain that aren't meant to be there. It's all supposed to be there, and it's great. Thank you, Hasbro. Thank you.
So far. Here's what worries me. he's got this big golden powered up sword, right? And then do like a slash attack. Fine. It bothers me because of the type of cockpit, but you're right. It's way better than Cheetah Beast Blaster. Here's what worries me. He's got this big sword. There's going to come a time when he's got his big combo with the other dinosaurs. He's like, fire, Tyranno X Blaster, blah, 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 blah. And he's going to swing the sword, and then it's going to fire a gun.
That doesn't bother me as much as the other way.
Weirdly, I agree. I don't know why. It still does, but not as much as the other way.
Because you can have something like be a joystick.
Right.
You can't have a trigger be a sword. Like, it doesn't work that way.
Or it generates the energy by moving. Yeah, I agree. You're right. It's not nearly as bad. You know what? I'll take the win. I'm nitpicking. You're right. Okay, fine. I
was just flowing with Morphin Grid energy.
In addition to how awesome seeing the Megazord in action was, going back to what you were saying about, oh my gosh, the Red Ranger, I forget his name right now. Zaito, thank you. He's like, hey, old friend, good to see you again. And so it also explains, he's done this a million times. He's worked with this Zord before. So they bust out all these superior moves, totally win the fight, super easy, barely an inconvenience. But it makes sense because he's
super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Yes, I did say that.
I know, but I really I needed the inflection.
Okay, sorry. But I again, I love that it made, like, if it was like a regular Red Ranger that just got the powers, I'd be like, what the heck? How do they know? But no, he has these military strategies.
He's the man.
Yeah. It makes perfect sense. Mega Saber, blah, blah, blah. Glad I have the toy. Okay. When they beat the Sporix, as you said earlier, they have to contain it because it can't be destroyed, and it gets more powerful, which made me think of two things. Doomsday from DC Comics and a Saiyan from Dragon Ball Z.
Yep. Both
of which, if you beat them, they basically come back stronger. And so
I'm thinking more Doomsday with this, honestly.
Why?
Because Saiyans, it's more they have to heal themselves. Sporix, it's more they're in stasis, and then when they grow again, they're like instantly more powerful kind of thing.
Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. Well, I like that, and it makes it like you said, they're gonna have to get better or get better at capturing them or whatever. Here's the other thing I like about this episode and last episode too, frankly. They've had 2 episodes. Well, we still only have 3 Rangers, which I love. Not that I'm not excited to see the others, but we're getting like a decent amount of spotlight and character development. Yeah. And not in a forced way of like, oh, it's Billy's bad day. Like, it's just like, no, we're getting to see them, you know. So that's great. Slow roll it out. Slow roll out the Zords, the Rangers, all of it. We're not in a rush. You know what I mean? We're going to get there. I love that. Also, both encounters, while they acted heroically and they were fun to watch and they pulled together as a team, they lost both times. Both times. A little bit of Rocky Balboa. Kind of start cheering for the underdog a little bit.
Not how hard you get hit. It's not how hard you hit. It's how hard you get hit, and pick yourself up and keep on going.
Yeah. So I love an underdog. I love it. And again, they're competent, but they're just, they're losing. It happens. Ollie learns a lesson. Whatever, fine. It wasn't too bad.
One thing really quick before you move on. Yeah. Thinking of how they're going to capture the Sporix. Once again, if I'm wrong, please somebody tell me. But I feel like the last time we had a Ranger team that had to collect the villain in some way, outside of SPD, because that was more jailing them. But Time Force, yeah. And I love that. I'm a big fan because we don't get it a lot. We personally just got it. But in general, it's been a while.
I agree. And maybe I shouldn't say things like this because we always end up disappointing ourselves. But we have seen Wes from Time Force show up recently. Jason Font, A, proving that the actor or actors are willing to come back, and B, connecting it that maybe this is the same dimension, maybe not, but he's attached to some kind of group that travels dimensions. So even if he just showed up like, look, I got a better way for you to contain the Sporix. Boom, take this, one episode. That's it. He could just show up for half a fight, shoot a few people and be like, take this. I'll take, or Jen or any, just tie that in somehow. That I'm fine with that. At the end of the episode, now the world knows there's Sporix. Right the penultimate end, because there is a little bit more in after this, but public service message, standing in front of the camera in full Ranger gear. We need you to help us. I love it. Love it. Because they're still having secret identities. Okay, whatever. But they're not pretending like they're not superheroes in the world. They're saying like, look, we are superheroes. You know this. We know what's going on. We want you to know what's going on. Please help us. That is the most normal thing that should happen. And it's a little cheesy, but almost inherently has to be cheesy. You know what I mean? It's like when a cop is like, come on, kids, help me stop drugs. Like, it's important to do, but there's no way to do it without looking cheesy, you know? Like, so
in hopes of disappointing myself in the future, because I'm ready to be heard again.
Okay.
I really want them to do another service announcement or update or something and just show, like in a cafe or something, that the TV's going, and then it pans and it's somebody. It could be any Ranger, I don't care, but just see them and they're just giving the grin, kind of like we got in Super Mega Force with Jaden, our favorite Red Ranger, if your name is Gaz. Operation Overdrive's not my favorite season, but I can poke at you too. I just don't have any clips that you doctored.
I feel for you, man. You're trying so hard to make it something work against me. Like
I know I don't have a lot of ammunition.
Even the way you said it was like, "Who's our favorite Ranger?" If you're Gaz and I blew it, like you're just trying to make something.
It's very David and Goliath. I have a slingshot and I'm doing my best.
But I'm also on record as saying I like Samurai, so it's not like what I do like Samurai. That's fine, you know. I mean, he's not my favorite Red Ranger, but
Lauren could come back. Please bring her back. We missed her.
Lauren, yeah, I would like to see. That would be cool because she's gotten so much play in the comics and stuff. It'd be cool to, So that was basically the end of the hero part. Then they have a little secondary thing with the villains getting their base. Mucus, who I did not like as like the second introduction to one of these powerful things, and she's goofy. Yeah. I do think I'm going to like her character. She reminds me a little bit of Jindrax from Wild Force. Jindrax and Toxica, they were like a little team.
No,
and
I know.
He was where he was kind of charming and he was a bad guy, but you kind of felt like he just wanted friends. And she even says like, "Oh, you have a boss? I like taking orders." And you get the impression she just kind of wants a pal. She's not really interested in fighting for the world.
I took it as a combination of Poisandra and I forget the green like tea guy that she would always hang out with. Like if the two of them were one being. Curio. Thank you.
Maybe, but I found Poisandra to be a little bit irritating, and I found Jindrax to be a little more charming. So maybe that's why I'm going Jindrax.
I found it more irritating. You found it more charming. We both have slight differences of opinion on the fungus.
Yeah, well, I think in the beginning of the episode, when I first saw her, I didn't like her. By the end, I'm like, "Ooh, I might actually like her a lot." We gotta wait and see.
One thing really quick with Void Knight that I was super loving plot-wise, they destroyed his thing, and instead of taking it and trying to rebuild it, he was just, "I am going to destroy you. I'm so mad right now. I had one of those, and now I have none of them."
Yes,
and I'm really angry.
Yeah, instead of an unlimited amount of just I could.
It's like I got the core of it. Now I'll build an even better one.
Which was furthered by the fact they took this base that was built by humans. I'm guessing back in the 50s, based on the decor and like the weird. I like their base a lot. It's got a lot of fun old-fashioned
Area 62
stuff. What? Area 62 instead of 51, yeah. And it looks like it's got the checkerboard floor like you might see in an old diner, but then it's got like all these tube amp radios and stuff. I thought that was really cool. And what I also liked is he's like, "Oh, it's more powerful." And he puts in this jukebox looking thing. And he's like, and also I'm okay with that because I feel like he took whatever technology he had and modified what was there. So, hey, it's a jukebox into whatever. Fine. I love it. It looks cool. And because it's a more powerful Sporix, he didn't want it to like blow up and be a bigger monster. He just wanted more energy. So which goes back to the beginning. It made it seem like he just wanted power. And then I'm like, oh, he wants monsters? No, he does want power. So I like that. That's better. And it ended well. I give this episode a B+. It's probably more than it deserves, but the highs were so high and I liked it so much better than the first episode that I'm giving it a B+.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. Before I chatted and gushed over the things I really liked, I was going to give this a C+.
Wow. Okay.
But upon further investigation and realization, it's getting a B from me.
Okay, fair enough. And B is probably what it deserves. I'm giving it a B+. I think, again, because I came in after the first episode, like not expecting too much. And while there are things I didn't like, the highs were so high. It's in one of my notes, and I such a weird note to have. I had in space ? Because I had mentioned before, like there's like themes of in space, but then I was like RPM plus Ninja Steel is what I wrote, which seems crazy, but like those are the two seasons it most reminds me of.
Mine is more in space than Ninja Steel.
The Ninja Steel because of the super technology they don't explain and the comedy and stuff. Not to that level, but and also just the way it looks, the way it's filmed. It has that Neo Saban look.
Yeah,
you know,
it does. So far, I'm just really hoping that, and this made me realize it when you brought up the seamless CGI, because you're much better at seeing like quality CGI, whereas I'm much more looks fine to me. So like you noticing that gives me like a positive outlook on Hasbro putting money in the right places.
Assuming that was Hasbro and not Toei.
True.
We don't know.
We don't know. But like to me, I really want them with the kind of, Hartford Technologies little Easter egg, like stuff like that you not only you're going to sprinkle in, but like I liked last season when we had who was the sheriff guy that I'm forgetting the name of. He was Gavon, but like
Skyfire.
Thank you. Like that was cool.
No, wait. Skyfire was
Ninja Steel.
Doesn't matter. Whatever. He was Gavon.
Yeah, he was Gavon. I want something like that, but just full on American only, where like you don't have to rely on the foot. It's like, dude, you're already spending this money on American footage.
Yeah. I agree.
Use a suit, bring Wes in, whoever you want, like just somebody. That's all I need. I don't even need him in suit. Just have him in. Just something that connects that I like. Yeah. Carter Grayson shows up. Who cares? Whatever.
I'm with you on Carter Grayson. Yeah, let's get some Carter Grayson. Yeah, there's so many. Yeah, there's so many actors that could come in as a civilian that would be exciting, and making new suits like they did in Jungle Fury for the Spirit Masters, or even like a lot of the toys they've made where they design but they're not in the show because they, but now again, a one-off, like you said, you build a suit. They don't have to have a mech. You have them be in some ground fights, which you're filming now anyway. There you go. Brand new Ranger.
And the other thing too, Hasbro, listen to me. You guys, I want to buy your toys. I want to buy them. But if you don't put them out, we cannot buy them. I still don't have a King Beast. Yeah, I don't have a King X Beast Sword because you didn't release it outside of the little shampoo bottle. I didn't get it because it's not there.
Yeah.
If you make a
one-off motorcycle mode, I would have bought it, didn't buy it because. And here's the thing: I'm not a completionist. Some people are. I can't afford to be. I don't have the room to be, and I don't really want to be. I pick and choose, especially when it comes to Zords. The figures, I'm a little bit more loosey-goosey. So when I'm like, oh man, I really want that, I absolutely would have bought it at full price. I wouldn't have even waited for a sale. But since you didn't have the motorcycle part, I never got the red Zord part because who cares then? Yeah. So.
And that's the thing. If you do one-off stuff, throw them in the line. Make it part of a Lightning Collection push. Make it part of even a basic. If you gave us a basic Ranger, and I'm just pandering to you, if they did a basic RJ, you would buy it. You would buy it right now.
Yeah.
Because you're like, fine, it's a new RJ. I'll buy it. It's fine. And then 3 months later, they do Lightning, and you go, darn, I wasted $10, and you'll keep both because RJ is great.
I might not keep both. I might, but I would buy both. I would buy both and maybe get rid of one. We got to wrap this up, but who do you think the first character from this series will be in Lightning Collection based on just who we've seen so far? I agree, but you know who I want it to be?
Void Knight.
Yes.
I know.
I think Void Knight has to be a figure because he's one of those figures that we talked about before where he could go into any season. He can go into other collections. He's just so cool looking. He'll sell well even if you don't buy power. Like he could go into Marvel. He can go into Fortnite, whatever.
Hey, Hasbro, do you want us to buy Void Knight and not be worried about having a pink Ranger on the shelf in a wave? Why don't you pack them in a 2-pack and we'll buy them and do a single release of red and blue and we'll buy those as well. Because you know what? We want to give you money. Don't burn us. Don't burn us.
Angry. You're so angry about
one. I don't want to be. I'm passionate. It's not anger. It's passion. Fiery hot passion from the Morphin Grid.
We haven't done a review together in a few weeks, and we haven't done a current review in a long time. Yeah. So this was fun. And it's also weird because we weren't watching the episode. It was just us talking. A lot of passion. We argued. We agreed.
Oh.
I'm looking forward to episode 3 way more than I was looking forward to episode 2. So somebody's doing something right as far as I'm concerned.
Honestly, once again, and part of the reason I love this show, I don't remember the last episode that we talked about ever that I was this animated.
True. Yeah. Well, because we were also watching a lot of SPD where most of it was like, we were like, this is good. We like it. But also it was over so long ago. So it wasn't like, oh, gee, I wonder where this is going. Because we kind of knew. And we, it's sort of, even if we didn't know every beat, we sort of knew the characters. We sort of knew everybody liked it. Like
there was nothing contentious.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was nothing contentious. And there wasn't the unknown. This is all unknown. Nobody knows what's going to happen next week. Nobody knows if this is going to go down as the worst season ever, the best season ever, starts good, gets bad. It's the last one we ever saw. It's the first one before things totally change. We don't know. There's so much unknown that just makes it exciting to talk, to argue, to all that. So in the comments, throw up what you think, as you always do. We appreciate that. Tell us if we're wrong, we're right, what you want to see, what you didn't want to see. The first review, mine especially, because I got it up so early, got a ton more views than we normally do. So I know we have some new subscribers.
Humble brag.
Yeah, but I'm saying thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Please subscribe, like, share. The more viewers we get, the more videos we will do next week, or not. Well, yeah, it is next, because I'm going to put this up either Saturday night or Sunday morning, depending on when I get up. Tuesday, we're going to have Campbell Cooley, voice actor extraordinaire, among other things. Most notably, he has done the voice of Scrozzle, but he has done a voice for every season since RPM. We're going to be talking to him. We talked to him once before. You can find that video already in the interview section. We're going to be talking to him live this time. So you can tune in 6:30 p.m. California, U.S. time. Join in live. If you have questions for him, you could leave it here on our Facebook page, whatever. We'll try to throw it in. And we're going to be talking about everything, but with the emphasis on Beast Morphers, because we couldn't talk about Beast Morphers with him last time because it was still in the air. So we can get a little bit more in depth with that. So
one final thing before we sign off.
Yeah.
We are fully aware that there was Power Ranger news recently. We are sorry we're not including it here. It will be talked about at some point, but not today.
I make no guarantees.
I will bring it up at some point. But I have been the Big Dawg Defender. He has been.
Well, I've been Gazbot.
And
to
the
power.
See y'all later.
He's got a Green Lantern ring.
I do. Dino Fury, Dino Fury. Wait, hold. Dino Fury. That's the theme song we don't need, but we deserve.
Dino Fury, Dino Fury.